this is breaking news. Trump and Mike Johnson have been able to accomplish a huge feat in the first, literally almost a month in, guys, with Trump's agenda. Passing this huge budget bill, guys, is such a massive change, not only to the federal spending, but to everyday Americans' lives. We're talking about a balanced budget for God knows how long has it been since we've had that with the federal government. On top of tax relief for seniors, no tax on tips. Guys, this is going to benefit over 4 million people who earn tip income. We got no tax on Social Security, which will benefit over 35 million Americans who receive Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. This is going to benefit over 10 million people. We've got America First tax breaks. We're talking about a $4.5 trillion tax cut for America First, guys. This is phenomenal. The vote was 217 to 215. We literally had Representative Thomas Massie, who's a Republican. He actually voted no on this, but this is wonderful, guys. Amazing news. I'm so excited about this, guys. The House GOP budget bill is in key position for the Trump agenda. Trump's happy. The GOP is happy. A lot of Americans are happy, guys. And it's one step closer to making sure that we're getting to where we need to be at when it comes to an America First agenda. Making sure that our American citizens are being put first. On top of that, guys, you're probably going to like this a lot too. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is head of the DOJ committee, they had the hearing this morning, who has said now that there will be criminal investigations and criminal referrals to the DOJ by her committee for the Biden crimes as well as his family, as Hunter Biden and Jim Biden profited off of their relationship with their brother and father, and ultimately put this in favor of their personal gains. They said they're going to be working with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel to gather the evidence of their abuse of the taxpayer funds for their personal gains. This is accountability, guys. And if you know Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know she's going to do what she says she's going to do. And on top of that, guys, I cannot even believe this. If we sell 10 million of the Trump gold cards, so the Trump gold cards, instead of the green cards, immigrants come in, they get a green card, he's selling these gold cards, that if we sell 10 million, and remember, guys, there's 8 billion people in the world. There's got to be 10 million people that want to come to America and pay $5 million for this. That would actually be $50 trillion in revenue. That would be enough to not only pay off our national debt, but also have 15 trillion left over. Like, what if, I'm telling you what, if Trump gets this, guys, go ahead and hand him the crown. Go ahead and give him a third term. This dude is taking care of America with these brilliant business ideas, and that's what America needs right now. We got a ton of breaking news to get into today, guys. Thank you so much for your support to everybody that's subscribed. To all of our viewers, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. And thank you to everybody that supports our channel through the memberships and through the super chat donations, guys. I want to say thank you so much, Elaine Demeen. Y'all show Elaine some love in the chat. And guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, we really appreciate your support. And don't forget, we got the new channel. We're so close to our 1,000 subscribers, guys. Our first milestone. The link is in the description to go and join and subscribe to that channel. We appreciate your support. This is beautiful news, guys. As the House passes this huge GOP budget bill, this is a huge key step for the Trump agenda in putting Americans first. Like we said, no tax on Social Security, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. America First agenda. And again, what is happening? Not one Democrat voted for it. So just remember that. Tell your friends. Share this video. Check this out.
The process has started. I want to emphasize to you something very important. The process for this, what Donald Trump calls a one big, bold, beautiful bill, has just begun. The bill that is going to actually do the stuff in the bill, i.e. a transformation of the border, building the wall, establishing our military dominance and lethality again, tax cuts, the economic prosperity program, the no tax on tips. This is a start the start of the reconciliation process. They needed to get every Republican on board. They can only lose one. They did lose one. Congressman Massey, I get what he's trying to do, but this is one of those letting the enemy, the perfect be the enemy, the good thing. I understand. However, we're dealing with slim majorities. I'm dealing with the world we live in, not the world we'd want to live in. But I understand the principle. I've been a fan of cutting government spending for a long time. Speaker Johnson, unbelievably, got this thing through last night. They got it passed to start this thing. Here he was right afterwards. This is a big bill that will actually really change America if this thing passes. Check this out.
Let's go.
Yep.
How much work are you going to have to do out there on the floor to make sure you can actually get there?
I think we've got it.
You think you already have locked it down?
I do, yeah.
Is the Senate's resolution Plan B?
There's no Plan B. This is the only plan we're
Let's
running.
go.
You lose the president's trust if it fails?
No. I've spoken to the president multiple times today. He knows exactly what we're doing and why.
Folks, I want to emphasize to you the importance of this. Executive orders are fantastic, and I really applaud President Trump for using the constitutional powers of the presidency to do the things he wants to do and to move the country in that promised Make America Great Again agenda. He's not a guy who promises things and doesn't do them, and it's fantastic that he's moving them in the right direction. But executive orders, are limited in their ability to change the country. I've asked you in the chat many times. You already know. What'd you say? Crowder says you owe him $30, Dan. I mean, sorry, I'll have to write you a check. Maybe cash if you guys stop by Dallas some point. Folks, executive orders are only good as long as you're the executive. Now, if, say, J.D. Vance were to run, and J.D. Vance wins next time, the likelihood of him overturning a Trump executive order is probably slim to none, and slim left town. However, if there's another election, if there's going to be another election, if in the next election the Democrats win, those executive orders are going to be bye-bye, see you later. Legislation can be overturned with new legislation, but it's not easy. You have to get a majority of the House and sometimes a filibuster-proof Senate, depending on the process you use. It's a big deal. This bill is enormous. I agree with the President Trump approach and the House side approach. I'm not telling you the Senate side is wrong. I understand what they're trying to do. But the Senate's saying, let's take an easy win on the border and defense, move on to the tough stuff later. The House is saying, no, let's put it all in one big bill. Tactically speaking, you don't have to listen to me. I mean, do your own, you guys got elected in your own districts. I'm just saying, it is easier to rally people around one big, bold message than to have to rally people twice.
Yep.
Right? It's easier to play one game and one big game and win it than to win two big games back to back. That's just a simple sports analogy. You don't want to play the Super Bowl twice. It is easy to rally people around one thing when the cause is so bold and transformative. Also, it affords you the opportunity to tell everyone up there on the House side, because they're not going to get any Democrat votes, hey, listen, this big bill, everybody's going to have to take it on the chin a little bit. Not everybody's going to get what they want. And you don't have so much infighting with it. I think the big bill is the way to go. Amazingly, the AP came out with this story. Nearly 40% of contracts canceled by Musk's Doge are expected to produce no savings. I would be stunned to see how they got mad. Is this one of those scoring things they do with the CPO where they magically tell you tax cuts cost the government revenue, but cannot produce a single data set of examples long term showing that income tax cuts cost the government revenue? Not really sure how that works. I'm not sure where they got the math from, but Guy says he has wait, you have something over there? You said I don't know what this is. Guy says there was a math lesson previously on how this works. And it was it NBC one time? I may have missed this, so let me hear this.
You see it as a possibility if he wants to spend $1 billion beating this guy, he could do it.
Absolutely. Somebody tweeted recently that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population, 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it.
Yeah, it is incredible because I don't know where you got that math from. I'm not sure. You know, there's a calculator. Do you have it on your phone, guys? You have a calculator app? Because I'm pretty sure it's standard on just about every phone. What do you have? You have an iPhone. You have one of those Google phones, Android phones. I'm reasonably confident there's a calculator app, and it can do complicated calculations. And the crazy thing is, it does it like that. You even got ChatGPT and Grok. You can ask them questions like, "Hey, can you do this math for me?" I didn't know you guys still had that running around, by the way. Good call on that one. The Mary Gay Brian Williams math. They're making a big mistake here, too. I told you the Democrats are making an enormous mistake dying on this hill of essentially fighting for extended periods of government waste and abuse. American workers live and work in jobs every day, in coal mines and office buildings everywhere, where they're forced to do performance reviews. They may like or they may not, but they have to do them to justify their jobs. Doge is popular because those same people say, well, if you work for the government, why don't you have to do that too? Here's our friend Chaya Rachik over at Libs at TikTok. The new poll is absolutely devastating to Democrats.
Yes.
The Doge is extremely popular by huge margins. They screech about it on publications, but the American people aren't falling for it. She knows, shows how irrelevant the media and leftist talking heads are.
Guys, let me tell you this. One of the best things ever, guys. I love it. That look at this. The more and more that things are happening, the more and more people are posting. And guys, look, this just came from Representative Anna Paulina Luna. And just want to say, guys, thank you to everybody who's watching. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Guys, the House passes the budget reconciliation. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. The no tax for Social Security, which is the tax relief for seniors, America First tax breaks, balanced federal budgets. It's been since Newt Gingrich that we've had a balanced federal budget, y'all. Like it is about high time that we finally get to that place. And it is so amazing that, you know what? Biden was nowhere inside of it. $7 trillion budget, $2 trillion deficits with nowhere in sight to even come close to reducing the federal debt. And that's what makes me so mad is that people literally didn't even see it. All they were like, oh yeah, let's just keep spending money. Let's just keep spending money. Money that we don't have. Guys, this was the actual, I want to show you there's literally, not only did they pass the bill, Trump came out with this today. President Trump announces 25% tariffs on the European Union. So imagine if we get to a balanced budget, we start tariffing all the people that tariff us. We could literally be in a surplus, start paying down the national debt. And then the idea with the gold cards, if we just get 10 million people across the world to come and pay $5 million each for the gold card, immigration card, we could have $50 trillion in revenue, pay off the national debt. And it gets even better, guys. This is what I love, is that they are actually making substantial changes that are going to affect everyday Americans. Listen to this.
We're the first one to also say, oh, by the way, we're adding about $1 trillion every 100 days, because this is not advanced mathematics. This is not like differential calculus. This is just good old arithmetic. The third thing that's hard, you can't get your head around it, is that if you do the CR as existing, the CR you have to do first, I think, before you do any of this budget reconciliation, because this is for out years, is that none of the Doge cuts come in. It's an up or down vote on existing Biden's budget. So none of the, let's assume for purposes of this discussion that the $55 billion that Elon has said they found, and Scott Bessen's kind of backed that up, the $55 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse, and or the shutting down of things like USAID, that would be fully financed for the year. Not only would you not get the cuts, it would be awful. It would be that you're actually paying for it through the end of the year. So those three things, to me, make a CR for the rest of the year a non-starter. And that we should do what they wanted the other 90 days to do, is finish the individual appropriations bills, negotiate with the Senate, and come up with something. As bad as it would be, then you would get the Doge cuts in there and at least make some attempt to try to lessen the deficit, and it'd be President Trump's priorities. Now, what's the solution? The solution, and you heard it last night, this is why we had CRA on here, Tietzel, is that they're going to do this, and this gets back to the unitary theory of the executive. That in their interpretation, and it's my interpretation also, I agree with this 100%, that the appropriations, that number is the ceiling. That the Constitution says that the president's the chief executive officer of the United States government, and that means he can make decisions like chief of executives. He can either, if programs are not being hit, he can either hold back or impound the money, and or he can or he can kind of reprogram. And they're saying, well, you don't have line item veto. This is all nonsense, and we'll fight that. We'll go to court right away. The people oppose the president. So they will start some sort of movement on impoundment, not rescissions. Rescissions will be even more complicated. I think that would come later, and we'll get that term and explain it all to you at another time. But the impoundment they'll do immediately. So they say, don't worry, Steve, it's not going to be Biden's budget. We're going to do impoundments. We're going to go. Well, I love that. It's probably the best of a bad lot of alternatives is this one hang-up. And this is what I have been very concerned and been very vocal about this from the beginning. Because I don't totally trust the Supreme Court. I particularly don't trust people like John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah.
Roberts is a very political Chief Justice, although this is the Thomas Court, and we talk about that all the time. Roberts is technically the Chief Justice, and he gets to set the agenda. It shouldn't be lost on you that what we thought and was proposed is a no-brainer, and that's the situation with the president having the executive authority under the unitary theory of the executive as chief executive to terminate individuals that work in his government. This special counsel, the Brahmin that President Trump wanted to get rid of, as we said, you're going to go to federal court, you're going to then ask for the immediate expedited hearing at the appellate level, and then get on the emergency docket for the Supreme Court. Well, step one, they went to federal court. Obviously these radical judges agreed with the president couldn't fire the guy. Then we went to appellate court, and then we go to the emergency docket, and guess what? It's not picked up. Now that's still being adjudicated, but first glance they said, hey, not for us at this time. Same court that passed on, I think, 92 possibilities in the 2020 stolen election. And we know the 2020 election was stolen. That is irrefutable. You're seeing the end of the post-war international rules-based order, as Secretary of State Rubio said in his confirmation. Why is that? Because that system that was established essentially by the United States with concurrence of its quote-unquote allies, has been used and turned on the American people and the American middle class, the American working class, by your betters to enrich themselves, to impoverish you, at the same time that you would, that your sons and daughters, not only do you pay for it with your taxes, but your sons and daughters are the folks that man the national security apparatus in the uniformed military services. President Trump's overall goal is peace and prosperity. How do you get there?
Yes.
You work through some different strategic alliances, and at the same time, you refocus on defense of the homeland. That would be what he's doing in the Monroe Doctrine 2.0, from Panama to Greenland, and putting a kind of a forward thrust of extending essentially the defensive borders of the United States from the Arctic all the way down to Central America, and really a naval strategy to make sure the Chinese Navy, the PLA Navy, can never connect with, through the Panama Canal, the Russian Navy in the Caribbean. Full stop. Take control of the Panama Canal, which he's in process of doing. And I can tell you, Michael Yan is saying, hey, the Chinese are still down there. They're still building some stuff down there. But he's seeing, quite frankly, the remigration or the self-deportation of huge groups of people going back the other way through the Darien Gap. So President Trump's message is getting out there,
yes,
quite boldly. On the situation in the Arctic, you've got all this consternation in Canada right? As President Trump talks about that or discusses that as the potential 51st state in Greenland. Looks like, I think, that they're working towards a plebiscite to get their independence from Denmark and then potentially some sort of arrangement with the United States. He's also looking at the 3 island chains, right, that we've had so many of the smart people on the Committee on the Present Danger come and talk about. Using the great ocean desert of the Pacific as a natural strategic barrier to the United States. When President Trump says there's 2 oceans. What does that mean? That means eventually, and this gets back to the budget last night, gets back to the tax cuts, because all this is inextricably linked. It is the way to get our defense budget down below $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Also on social services and the safety net and all that, Medicaid to the foods, for the income security, what they call it, the food stamps and all that. You have to, you're going to have to show that you're serious about looking at defense. And we just can't have, be paying 3.5% of our GDP for defense. It's just the math doesn't work. Not given the fact that we've spent money for years and years and years, and particularly during the Biden regime, that has been outrageous and a breach of fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah, that's what honestly, it really bothers me, guys. Trump posted this. We just want to say thank you so much to everybody that's watching, guys. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Guys, let me tell you this. Trump said big first step win for Speaker Mike Johnson in America. Now let's start to balance the budget. It can be done, DJT. I don't understand, again, how in the world the government can operate with no accountability under the Biden administration to keep spending and spending at such a high velocity. $2 trillion a deficit, that is astronomical. That is so much money that most people cannot even comprehend. But the House passed the budget resolution backed by the President Trump, including $4.5 trillion in tax cuts with no taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security. 217 yays. Every Democrat voted no, and we had one Republican, Thomas Massey, who voted no. I want to say thank you so much, Julie Jordan, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Julie some love in the chat, as well as Andy, who said Trump needs to stop Bill Gates' virus from entering the U.S. No entries to U.S. from infected countries like the Congo, plus test everyone before entering. How suspicious is this? I haven't seen that, but I'll definitely check into it. Y'all show Julie and Andy some love in the chat. The things that are happening, guys, is that we're seeing a lot of things being revealed. We're seeing what you're about to hear, as we move into this next step of where the voters are at. What's happening with the foreign policy? Guys, Vladimir Zelensky over Ukraine literally just said that Ukraine is not in debt to the United States. This literally was said a couple of hours ago. This is the type of stuff Trump was talking about. We get screwed over by all these other countries that we give money to. They don't like the United States. They don't respect us. And then they can't even acknowledge that after everything that we've done to help Ukraine actually be alive and still be a country, that there's no debt to the United States. Guys, this makes no sense whatsoever. But again, too, this is a part of the Democratic regime. Check this out.
Fox News alert, the House just took a major step towards passing the president's agenda. Trump's budget resolution that calls for tax and spending cuts just passed with a vote of 2017 to 2015. One Republican defected, Thomas Massey of Kentucky, and now the resolution heads to the Senate. Your move, John Thune. Democrats are a bunch of headless chickens. They have no game plan, no voice, and no leadership. Hakeem Jeffries sat down with Stephen A. Smith to calm his nerves, but it only made things worse.
What are you going to do? And how are you going to convince us to believe you? You first got to find somebody that's worth believing. And I'm not denigrating Leader Jeffries in any way. But when you think about a national voice for the party, who is that person? It's non-existent right now.
No leadership means no one's on the same page. Half the Democrats want to go moderate. The other half wants to go run with the squad. Quote, in deep blue Oakland, voters want Democrats to grow a spine and be ruthless. How much more ruthless can the Democrats get? Trump was shot, arrested, And if he lost the last election, he'd be in prison. Some Democrats have chosen sides.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things.
Didn't she marry her brother?
Tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again?
Rule number one of politics, you don't call the voters stupid.
Nope.
Even Van Jones knows it.
We have a left that cried wolf. In Trump 1.0, every tweet was the end of the republic. Everything that he said, and they had this idea, well, we're not going to normalize him. We're not going to normalize him. Well, that's stupid. He's the president of the United States. And you're a newscaster, so what are you going to do? You need to, everything can't be a 5-alarm fire.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Van Jones is right. The 5-alarm Trump fires, it's turning everybody off. Now lifelong Democrats are going independent.
I've never seen a party as lost. I don't feel they represent me. I don't know what they stand for. I would call myself an independent at this point. And I've been a lifelong Democrat. I've never seen them a party more lost at sea. And I'm the message guy. I'm not sure what I would tell them to do right now.
Mark Cuban also seems to be transitioning.
So first, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I'm not
what a lie.
I lean right fiscally. I lean a little bit left socially. But I can't say this as an entrepreneur and somebody who just tries to pay attention. Parties are dead. Donald Trump is a great salesperson. He really is. He's a great marketer. He's able to market in ways that, surpass and supersede parties.
Cuban and Deutsch are ditching the Democrats because they're not really good for business. And the rest of the Democratic Party should be taking notes. The best thing for them to do is play it smart. Be patient. Stop picking fights with everything Trump says and does. Be like Fetterman.
Sometimes people just want more times. They want me to pick up a folding chair and, whack them over the head with it. I'm just like, and it's going to get more and more contentious and polarized, but I've really kind of lost my taste for the kind of pointless, the clashing.
Guys, let me tell you this. It is getting so real. The good news keeps pouring in, guys. You cannot make this stuff up. I love reporting this news. Just want to say thank you so much, Mr. Norby, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, I want to know where all the USA gold is at. Fort Knox, Federal Reserve Bank, and the U.S. Mint. Where's the tons of gold at? I bet Fort Knox is empty as heck. Let's find this out 100%. But I'll tell you this. When we moved away from the gold standard, I think they sold it off. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat, guys. So this came out, guys. You're about to see this. The Doge subcommittee. Remember, Department of Government Efficiency is now considering criminal referrals for misuse of federal aid funds. You know what we're talking about? We're talking about Biden. We're talking about all the Democrats funding all their pet projects. She said maybe we should consider investigating whether USA funding has made it back to the Democratic campaigns. We know it has. We know how all of Washington, D.C., as corrupt as it could be. Remember, this is probably one of the worst ones. The 2010 earthquakes in Haiti. Congress allocated over $4 billion to go and help provide aid. Haiti only saw 2% of that. 56% of it was paid out to Washington, D.C. contractors who were friends of the lobbyists of the Congress people who made the bill to get the money from the taxpayers to go to Haiti. All this stuff, put them all in jail. You took advantage of the taxpayers. You defrauded the hard American worker who busts his butt and goes and works the job every single day. All of them should see criminal referrals. And you're about to see her say this, guys, because this is the first time, my goodness, that we are finally seeing some accountability in Congress by people that are willing to say, you know what? I don't care if I lose my House seat as long as I can get people held accountable. That's what we need more of. Listen to this.
Better not kill it. Congress has a role to play. Thank you.
Thank you, witnesses, for your testimony. Again, Mr. Unger, I apologize. We can also confirm the World Program posted that the recent pause concerning in-kind food assistance to WFP has been rescinded. This allows for resumption of food purchases and deliveries
Madam Chair?
using USAID.
Madam Chair, are we going member to member, or do you get to make a speech in between each witness?
Ooh!
If you're going to offer evidence or
You're not recognized.
in the clock.
You're not recognized. It's
Right.
my time.
Here I am.
I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questions. And this committee, based on this hearing and witness testimonies, will consider recommending investigations and criminal referrals.
Guys, if you appreciate the accountability, smash that like button. Click the like button if you don't mind. Guys, thank you so much for your support.
Joe Biden was president. His son Hunter was on the board of a Ukrainian energy company called Burisma. The prosecutor general of Ukraine at the time, Viktor Shokin, was investigating Burisma for corruption. Biden threatened, and it's on video, to withhold $1 billion of USAID grant to Ukraine if Shokin wasn't fired. Mr. Primorak, is USAID supposed to be used as leverage by a president to protect his son?
No, we call that corruption.
Ooh!
Mr. Primorak, in your estimation, roughly what percentage of USAID funding is doled out to bad actors or to efforts that don't have the best interests of Americans in mind?
I think what troubles me most is learning, I believe last year, following the hard work of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and Senator Joni Ernst, that USAID has been paying out over 50% to overhead charges. The Office of Inspector General of USAID criticized the agency for not knowing the overhead charges being handed out to all of these actors for $142 billion of disbursements. That is extremely troubling.
Yes. Mr. Primorak, Samantha Power, Biden's USAID administrator, openly spoke about her agency's efforts to promote democracy around the world. In your estimation, Mr. Primorak, is that what she was doing? If not, what was USAID doing during the Biden administration?
Let me cite the Holy Father, Pope Francis, who accused USAID and other donors of promoting ideological colonization, pushing a radical ideology onto the developing world that is anti-family and anti-life.
It has been asserted that USAID spent tens of millions of American taxpayer dollars to promote propaganda in Brazil in the lead up to the Bolsonaro-Lula election in 2022. It has been claimed that this funding was used to pass censorship laws and silence Bolsonaro's online presence, and even bar him from running for office in the future. Mr. Primorak, can you offer any insight into these allegations, or at least comment on whether the U.S. should play a role in toppling democratic processes around the world?
I think what we saw was USAID weaponized by the Biden administration and by Samantha Power to attack any party that was conservative. It just didn't happen in Brazil. It also happened, for instance, in very pro-America, Poland and Hungary as well.
One of the most extensive examples of regime change operations fueled by USAID is that of their role in the Syrian civil war aimed at toppling Bashar al-Assad. Reports from DD Geopolitics and other sources estimate that USAID funneled over $15 billion into Syria over a decade, covertly funding opposition groups, mercenaries, and anti-government networks under the cover of humanitarian aid. This included support for militant factions and propaganda efforts, often in collaboration with the National Endowment for Democracy. The operation culminated in Assad's overthrow in 2024 by Western-backed groups, with USAID's financial trails documented in congressional budget reports and criticized by Syrian officials as interference masked as assistance. Mr. Roman, do these kinds of activities carried out by an American agency make Americans safer at home, or do they risk embroiling us in more deadly and costly foreign conflicts?
when the agency is doing it according to the way in which represents American national security interests, it's correct. But when it's abused for political purposes, ideological umbrage, and sponsoring Islamism, which is inherently anti-American, it is the worst exhaustion of American taxpayer money that can be thought of, especially when it leads to the loss and danger to American lives.
In 2014, during the Euromaidan uprising in Ukraine, which led to the ousting of President Viktor Yanukovych, USAID is estimated to have spent billions of dollars on civil society initiatives that were allegedly designed to destabilize the pro-Russian government. USAID specifically funded NGOs and media outlets that amplified the anti-Yanukovych sentiment in an effort to align Ukraine more closely with the West. We also know that 9 out of 10 of Ukraine's major media outlets receive funding from USAID. Mr. Roman, should Americans' tax dollars be funding propaganda?
When it's pro-American propaganda, yes. But if it's supporting another regime which is inherently anti-American, no, it should have no involvement with that, which is the pattern we've seen under the Biden and Obama administrations.
Thank you. I now recognize the ranking member for 5 minutes.
All right, well,
guys, let me tell you this. What you're seeing here and what you're about to see next, guys, this is all coming out today. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posted, said, the then Vice President Joe Biden was caught on video openly threatening to withhold $1 billion of USAID grant unless the Ukrainian prosecutor investigating the Biden family corruption was fired. And guess what? They were fired. We have this all on tape. USAID over the past, I would say since its inception, has been used to funnel money into certain political outlets that allowed politicians to get their way. And both sides, guys, I'm not just saying Democrats, I'm saying Republicans too as well. Both sides used it for nefarious reasons. Both sides used it to advance their own agenda, advance their own pockets, and now that it's essentially getting shut down, that's why the fighting is so powerful. It's so strong against. The resistance is so strong. This is what blows my mind, is that this is the first time since USAID's inception that, and I want to make sure that I've given you all the facts, guys. When was USAID formed? 1961. So we're talking 63, 64 years. 64 years that USAID has been formed, and I can promise you, I would put money on it like nobody's business, that we have funneled billions to trillions of dollars worth of fraud through this. And it's only been since Trump and Elon Musk stepped into the gap to actually reveal what the heck is going on. That is what, it blows my mind, guys. And I want to show you this too. For those that haven't seen it, guys, we passed the reconciliation bill. What a huge win. This is now no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, America First tax breaks for products manufactured in the USA, and a balanced budget resolution, meaning that the deficit at minimum is neutral. For the first time since Newt Gingrich and Clinton were in office, we're not adding to the national debt. How amazing would that be? Trump has so much going on, and I want to get you the details from the man himself. And I hope, guys, I'm trying something out new with the videos. I'm putting them through a processor to get better sound quality. So let me know how this next video sounds, because I put it through the processor. I think it sounds a lot better than the normal one. And I just want to give you the best show possible, but I also want to show you something else special. Let me know who would want one of these, because I talked about it yesterday. Joe Wilson's push, Representative Joe Wilson's push for a $250 Trump paper bill. What do you think about Trump being on the $250 bill? I don't know, guys. I think it'd be pretty awesome. We haven't had a change to the bills in a long time. Let me know your thoughts. But now we're hearing they had the first cabinet meeting today. What is going on behind the scenes with Doge, the resistance that they're fighting, their plans for the Doge dividend checks, guys, because those are real. This is something that I'm really excited about. And let me know your thoughts on this audio. Check this out.
So, Elon, if you could get up and explain where you are, how you're doing, and how much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have him. He's been a tremendously successful guy. He's really working so hard, and he's got businesses to run. And in many ways, they say, how do you do this? And, it's he's sacrificing a lot and getting a lot of praise, I'll tell you, but he's also getting hit, and we would expect that, and that's the way it works. So I'd like to have Elon Musk please say a few words.
Well, thank you, Elon. Thank you, Mr. President.
And guys, before we jump into it, guys, if you appreciate the show, guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
I actually just call myself a humble tech support here because this is actually as crazy as it sounds. That is almost a literal description of the work that the Doge team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. The overall goal here with the Doge team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt, now exceeds the Defense Department spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending like over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt. It's not an optional thing; it is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here. And taking a lot of flack, and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. And I like to stack them out there. But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done. I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, knock on my wooden head, there's a lot of wood up there, that we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of its $7 trillion budget. And obviously, that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. So it's really, Doge is a support function for the president and for the agencies and departments to help achieve those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the receipts. So people say, like, well, is this real? Just go to doge.gov. We line item by line item, we specify each item. So, I should say, we will make mistakes. We won't be perfect. But when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately. And there was no interruption. But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day, every day, from now through the end of September. But we can do it, and we will do it. Thank you.
Would you have any questions of Elon while we're on the subject of those? Because we'll finish off with that. And if you would have any questions, please you could ask me or Elon. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Musk. I just wanted to ask you that the President Trump put out a Truth Social today saying that everybody in the cabinet was happy with you. I just wondered if you had heard otherwise, and if you had heard anything about members of the cabinet who weren't happy with the way things were going. And if so, what are you doing to address those any dissatisfaction?
Elon, let the cabinet speak just for a second. Reach any or unhappy to say it on. If you are, well, throw them out of here. Is anybody unhappy?
Let's go. I love it.
They have a lot of respect for Elon and that he's doing this. And some disagree a little bit, but I will tell you, for the most part, I think everyone's not only happy, they're thrilled. So go ahead, Elon. Grateful.
President Trump has put together, I think, the best cabinet ever. Literally. So, I do not give false praise. This is an incredible group of people. I don't think such a talented team has actually ever been assembled. I think it's literally the best cabinet that the country's ever had. And I think companies should be incredibly appreciative of people in this room.
Mr. Musk. Please. Yeah. Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Musk. About half of the government employees so far appear to have responded to your request for what they've been doing over the past week. Is there a timeline in place for next moves for people being fired? You won't be in there, you will expect to see results of them.
Yes. Well, to be clear, I think that email perhaps was best interpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse and two neurons? If you have a pulse and two neurons, you can reply to an email. This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. This is should be anyone for the accomplish this. But what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond.
What?
And some people who are not real people, have been literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. Well, somebody's collecting paychecks on a fictional individual. So we're literally trying to figure out, are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write email? Which I think is a reasonable expectation for the American public would have at least that expectation of someone in the public sector.
Guys, let me tell you this. I hope you're appreciating this. Thank you so much for the response of how the video sounds, guys. Let me tell you this. This is what the original video sounded like.
So Elon, if you could get up and explain
Very
where you are,
echoey.
how you're doing, and how much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have you. It's been
Even to the point to where we were at just a while ago, right here.
Of someone in the public sector.
See how
Mr. Musk, roughly 1 million employees.
It's not a high bar, guys. Come on.
Roughly 1 million employees have responded so far to this.
You see that, guys? And I hope you appreciate it. I want to do more videos like that. It just takes more time. But to me, it is 100% a better experience for you. And that's what it's all about. Thank you so much, Andy, for the super chat. Let's go. You said, Joel, $500 bill would be better. Yeah, $500 Trump. Let's go. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat. So, with that, guys, the governor of Maine, I'm telling you guys, the Supreme Court, heads are going to be rolling. We're going to see punches are going to be flying. Maine Governor Janet Mills said, if Donald Trump stops federal funding to Maine, we, the people of Maine, will take out federal taxes from all paychecks and no taxes will be paid to the federal government. Bold statement. This is as crazy as it gets. This is they're going to go toe to toe, guys. Something's going to happen, and I just want to call it out. Donald Trump's going to have Pam Bondi go and arrest her. I'm just going ahead. You heard it here first, guys. I feel like if you cannot just stop your federal funding to the federal government because you don't agree with what the president has put in place. This has never been done, guys. This is so insane. It is very, to me, illegal. I think it's going to get really, really heated in this battle, but I want to see it. We need to see what's going to happen if this happens. We need to know what FAFO is really about when it comes to Trump and what he says. Thank you so much. Ty Matt Chong said, hey, Joel, I've seen the show on the last Saturday about donation. Well, it was great to see. And also thank you to all the True Life News fams to making this happen. Oh, I love it. Y'all show Ty some love in the chat, guys. Let me know your thoughts, guys, because this is going to be a showdown. This is the type of stuff, as crazy as it is to say, guys, starts a civil war when it comes to the money. I could see blue states wanting to recede. I could see red states saying, all right, see you later. And here, take some national debt with you. And y'all go keep running $2 trillion deficits and see in 10 years where things land at. Because you cannot just, this is so arrogant to just say we're going to stop sending our stop taking out federal taxes because we don't agree with your executive order on allowing men to play in women's sports. That's what this is about, everybody. This is what we're dealing with right now. And I'm ready to see something happen. And the more and more that we dig into this, guys, it's getting really deep with the Director of National Intelligence, the CIA, the people leaking information from the CIA, the FBI. Check this out.
We're in the Oval.
This is the Gulf of America. And if you look at that shoreline, look at that shoreline. Look, from Florida, well, most of it is, it's called America. And vast majority, like big numbers. So I'm just admiring it as I look at it. I'm getting teary-eyed, but I don't want you to say Trump broke down and started crying. No, how beautiful is that? Look at the shoreline. Look at that. That's America.
Then the president gave a present to the press. Watch.
Give me all of them. Look. See that? Trump was right about everything. It just came in. Somebody sent it. I said, this was sent in by a fan. I said, I think we should make some of them, right? But we were, pretty much. You want one?
I'll pass.
Are you allowed to take one? Because he'll consider it. I know him well. He's sort of a stiff.
I said you were right.
Brian, you're not a stiff. He's sort of a stiff guy. He'll take other things, but not a free hand.
Trump gives and he taketh away. 47 just yanked security clearances from law firms that worked with Jack Smith.
This is a good one. Is everybody listening? Deranged Jack Smith. We're going to call it the Deranged Jack Smith signing or bill.
Mr. President, may I ask you a question about Europe? So long term, do you plan to maintain the number of U.S. troops?
Wait, I just want to savor this one, please. Who would like this pen? Hey, why don't you send it to Jack Smith? A deranged person.
Erik Holder's law firm worked with Jack Smith, so that means Obama's wingman just lost his clearance. And if you've got a problem with that, Trump doesn't want to hear it.
What do you say to people who worry that targeting an individual firm or individuals who aren't Jack Smith?
Excuse
his
me,
actions?
I've been targeted for 4 years. Longer than that. So you don't tell me about targeting. I was the target of corrupt politicians for 4 years, and then 4 years after that. So don't talk to me about targeting.
Intel's been at war with Trump for a decade. Now the president's righting some wrongs. Fox News alert, according to the Washington Times, Kash Patel's FBI opening an investigation into James Comey. The Times reports that Comey launched an off-the-books honeypot operation against candidate Donald Trump. According to a whistleblower, he sent 2 female undercovers to infiltrate Trump's 2016 campaign and told them to act as honeypots, spies who use sex to get what they want. And the honeypots ingratiated themselves into the top ranks of the campaign. If true, that means the Obama administration was conducting multiple phony investigations into Trump without any evidence. The whistleblower says FBI employees were told to shut their mouth about the operation, and one of the agents was transferred to the CIA so she couldn't testify. This investigation into Comey isn't about revenge, it's about justice. Kash and Bongino are going to get answers. But Intel doesn't like being told what to do. When they saw Musk with the chainsaw doging foreign aid, they started leaking to CNN. If you doge us, there will be consequences.
Wow.
On the CIA's 7th floor, home to top leadership, some officers are also quietly discussing how mass firings and the buyouts already offered to staff risk creating a group of disgruntled former employees who might be motivated to take what they know to a foreign intelligence service. The CIA is telling CNN that if their funding gets cut, they're going to sell state secrets to Russia. Who the hell hired these Benedict Arnolds?
Ain't that the
CIA is supposed to be filled with patriots, not sellouts. And the FBI is up to no good, too. Michael Schellenberger is reporting a source inside the FBI says the Bureau is destroying evidence. Now we know what their accomplishments were last week. Dear Elon, I wiped the servers cleaner than crooked. We only wish the NSA had shredded their secret sex chats. We told you how Intel officials were using government chat rooms to brag about their fetishes, kinks, and sex changes. Journalist Chris Rufo just uncovered more messages. Viewer warning.
Oh, nope. We're not watching that because we're not getting in trouble.
They say she's fervently anti-queer, a Russian agent, and in a MAGA cult. This is the deep state the media says is fake. They've been shrouded in bureaucracy forever, and we're shining a light on the infection and cleaning it out. Tulsi Gabbard is the Director of National Intelligence. First of all, congratulations on your confirmation.
Thank you, Jesse. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Not so good to see some of these transgender sex chats among the intel officials. What are we going to do about that?
Well, Jesse, what we're going to do has already been done. There are over 100 people from across the intelligence community that contributed to and participated in this, what is really just an egregious violation of trust, what to speak of like basic rules and standards around professionalism. I put out a directive today that they all will be terminated and their security clearances will be revoked. But the thing here, Jesse, is like, we got to take a step back because this is just barely scratching the surface. When you see what these people were saying, and thanks to Chris Rufo for putting it all out online, they were brazen in using an NSA platform intended for professional use to conduct this kind of really horrific behavior. And they were brazen in doing this because when was the last time anyone was really held accountable? Certainly not over the last 4 years, certainly not over the last 10, maybe 20 years. When we look at some of the biggest violations of the American people's trust in the intelligence community. So today's action in holding these individuals accountable is just the beginning of what we're seeing across the Trump administration, which is carrying out the mandate the American people gave him. Clean house, root out that rot and corruption and weaponization and politicization, so we can start to rebuild that trust in these institutions that are charged with an important mission of serving the American people, ensuring our safety, security, and freedom.
Well, there's going to be a lot of house cleaning because now we're hearing CIA agents don't like getting Doge, so they're going to sell state secrets to our enemies. What are we going to do here?
I am curious about how they think this is a good tactic to keep their job. They're exposing themselves essentially by making this indirect threat, using their propaganda arm through CNN that they've used over and over and over again to reveal their hand, that their loyalty is not at all to America. It is not to the American people or the Constitution. It is to themselves. And these are exactly the kind of people that we need to root out, get rid of, so that the patriots who do work in this area, who are committed to our core mission, can actually focus on that. I got to tell you, one of the byproducts of what I just saw literally today is because of this immediate action of transparency and accountability, I have people within the intelligence community reaching out to me personally and directly saying, hey, you need to know about this. You need to look over here. People are stepping forward because they are all on board with the mission to clean house and refocus on our core mission of serving the American people.
I love to hear that, that there's a lot of patriots that want to join you in cleaning house. Can you explain to me what's going on with this mineral deal that's supposedly about to get inked with Zelensky to end this war in Ukraine? Is part of the strategy here, because after the Ukraine war started, it drove Russia and China closer together. Is this peace deal and what we're doing aimed at separating Russia from China?
Well, you know, President Trump's, there's a few different things that are happening kind of simultaneously. This minerals deal, I think, is one thing that stands on its own. The broader deal that is still being worked on, that President Trump has made very clear remains his top priority, is ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. Those negotiations are still ongoing. President Trump wants to end the killing. And most importantly, he's looking at each of these deals and negotiations that are underway within the context of what is in the best interest of the American people and our taxpayers and for the cause of peace.
All right. Well, it sounds like you have a lot on your plate.
Guys, let me tell you this. Thank you so much, Sherry Garcia, for the super chat. Let's go. She said, all citizens with Social Security number get Trump $250 bill. Let's go. I love it. Y'all show Sherry some love in the chat. Guys, I want to show you this again because, again, now that we know that there's CIA officials that are threatening Elon, Doge, Trump, well, hey, if you fire me, then I'm just going to go work for Russia and sell all the trade secrets. They should literally be fired on the spot. They should be held accountable on the spot. Thank you so much, Andy, for the super chat. Said they call Snowden a traitor. Funny. That's true. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat. Listen to this again, guys. We played this the other day. This at the time, Chuck Schumer was the leader of the Senate, a career politician.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them.
Guys, when I hear that, I literally want to say, you know what? Go put him in jail. You don't talk about these intelligence communities, the CIA, the NSA, and all that, like they're a separate entity from the federal government and they aren't held accountable to anybody. Like, that literally makes no sense. And when you hear the leader of the entire Senate at the time say that to me is like, hold a hearing, subpoena, put him before Congress, because that is a threat. And using weaponization of government to get what you want. And I just want to go over this one more time, guys. House passed the GOP budget bill. This is a huge step for Trump and the Trump agenda. And this is just beautiful, guys. What a beautiful image of no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, America First tax breaks for those manufacturing products in the United States, and a actually balanced federal budget. Not a $2 trillion deficit, putting us in more national debt like Biden was doing, but more fiscally responsible with our taxpayer money. And they need to get on the dang Doge checks. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. And thank you so much to everybody that is supporting our new channel. The link is in the description, guys. Head on over there to join the True Life News Breaking News. We're going to be doing a lot of different content. We're trying to get our feet wet with you know, how we're going to do that. But we figured it out today. So the videos that are going to be coming out are going to be different videos mixed in with a little bit of content that we do here, but they are going to be of different content that we're finding throughout the day that we really want you to see. We just don't have enough time in the day. But if you don't mind subscribing to that, guys, our goal and milestone is this week to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're so thankful for your support, guys. Thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. We're going to be starting to sell merchandise on this channel, guys, and members get an automatic 15% off. And just want to say thank you so much for your support. And remember, guys, the memberships are only 99. The lowest one is 99 cents a month. And it's we take that money and we donate it to charity. And to me, it's just something that I love and want to do, of gathering a lot of people that we can all just give $1. But if we get a lot of people to do it, then we can really give back a lot more to charity. And want us to give some love to those that gave a super chat donation. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Vegas Introvert, Random Car, Andy, Ty Matt Chong, Sherry Garcia. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. Amazing, amazing show today, guys. Super happy with where things are going. We love you all. Appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.